Episode 1. The main male character in the movie is named Gojo. From a young age, he had hobbies different from his peers. The young boy had an endless passion for traditional Hina dolls. Gojo's eyes sparkled, having never seen anything so beautiful. His grandfather encouraged his grandson to practice painting every day to become a doll artisan like him. However, Gojo had a not-so-great childhood with a childhood friend named Nan-chan. The girl criticized Gojo, saying a boy liking dolls was girly and disgusting. And just like that, their friendship cracked and they drifted apart. Perhaps that event still haunts the young man to this day. Startled awake, Gojo smiles happily seeing his room full of ink brushes and doll-making tools. This year the male lead is in high school, but his childhood passion has not faded. Every morning, Gojo lights incense at the altar and cooks breakfast for his grandfather. He boasts that he slept quite late last night because of an abundance of creative inspiration. Gojo spends hours painting the doll's face without getting bored, though he feels his skills are still not as good as his grandfather's. That is obvious since his grandfather has been an artisan for 48 years. He praises his grandson, saying that although he hasn't drawn a proper face yet, being able to make clothes is already very good. There's still a long time. Gojo is still in school and slowly accumulating more experience. Suddenly, his grandfather asks if Gojo has made any new friends in high school. Because from elementary to middle school, Gojo lived and breathed dolls every day, and his grandfather worried his only grandson wouldn't have a single friend. To reassure him, the young man lies through his teeth that he makes friends normally. They are just too busy participating in school clubs. Gojo smiles forcefully to hide the lie inside. After breakfast, the male lead takes the subway to school. He catches sight of friends chatting, everyone having at least one close friend. Suddenly, a young man appears and puts his arm around Gojo's neck, turning out to be a case of mistaken identity. The male lead is sad. He's in high school and still hasn't made friends with anyone. He accepts it because he dreams of becoming a Hina doll master, practicing drawing and talking to dolls every day. Looking around at peers chatting about movies and sports, no one has eccentric hobbies like Gojo. If he tries to start a conversation, it would only make everyone uncomfortable. Gojo thinks to himself that his fate is destined to be lonely forever. Suddenly, a female student in a short skirt with a sexy figure flies towards Gojo's desk. The landing makes a loud thud heard all the way in Cambodia. The girls rush over to apologize because their roughhousing caused Marin to fall flat on her face. The first close contact with a girl, especially a hot girl with an angelic face, makes Gojo blush in confusion. Marin accidentally sees a black mark on his arm and touches it to check. Oh my god, getting this close, who can handle it? Gojo, face red as a beet, quickly brushes away the hot girl's hand. Marin sees he is okay and smiles, turning to leave. Actually, that black spot was just ink residue from last night. For a second of curiosity, Gojo watches the girl's hot walk. Marin is bright, has many friends, and is always the center of attention. A perfect person, completely different from Gojo's world. Today was the first time he had close contact and communication with that hot girl. The girls gossip about how Marin never gathers after school. As soon as school ends, Marin disappears. Even yesterday, the female lead was hit on by a devastatingly handsome guy. He took the initiative to chat and crack jokes to impress her. However, Marin didn't even glance at him and looked annoyed, making him freeze on the spot. She is famous as a hot girl sought after by many, but she often throws salt in their faces. At that moment, Marin makes her view clear. She doesn't like handsome guys with trash personalities. That guy only had looks and bad-mouthed others. The male lead sits in a corner overhearing the girl's story. He greatly admires Marin. Even though she is in an opposing world, she is straightforward and open. She lives comfortably with her true nature, daring to think, speak, and show herself to everyone, unlike him who has to hide his hobbies and cannot open up to anyone. At the end of the day, his friends use the excuse of part-time jobs to dump all the cleaning duties on Gojo. The young man doesn't dare refuse for fear of upsetting them. He resigns himself to finishing the work so he can go home and rest. While busy stacking chairs, suddenly Marin appears, saying nothing and rushing in to help. She wonders why Gojo has to clean alone and learns about the friends lying to leave early. That is no different from forcing Gojo, yet he doesn't complain a word. The male lead admits he is a bit upset inside, but since they asked, he couldn't refuse. Marin thinks that's not asking for help, it's accurately called errand running. Even if you hate it, accepting it is self-abuse. Marin advises him to respect his own feelings. The short conversation today helps enlighten Gojo somewhat. That night, he diligently sews doll clothes and accidentally cuts his finger. His grandfather worries and goes to find a bandage for his grandson. Gojo's mind is in the clouds, still haunted by Marin's reminders. She hit the nail on the head. Indeed, Gojo always suppresses his own feelings. His only regret is that in childhood, he didn't dare reveal the truth to his childhood friend. The sewing machine is too old and frequently malfunctions. His grandfather plans to buy a new one, but Gojo can't bear to throw away something attached to so many years. Gojo's hand is full of bandages, looking pitiful. The next morning, the male lead decides to go to the school's handicraft club to finish sewing the clothes. Indeed, a good machine makes the sewing line smooth, finishing in a flash. Gojo thinks no one comes here after school, so he can do it openly. He happily looks at the doll about to have new clothes. Suddenly, Marin opens the door, and their eyes meet. The young man is shocked, startled, and drops the doll, rushing to grab it. Gojo apologizes profusely, saying it almost ruined his sky of art. He forgets that startled eyes have been watching his ridiculous actions. It's really over now. No amount of explaining can hide it. But strangely, Marin marvels, praising that it's the first time she's seen a male student use a sewing machine so perfectly. Gojo explains his family runs a Hina doll shop, so he learned the trade from a young age. The girl is curious to see the work and praises it endlessly. The doll's eyes sparkle like real life. Gojo blushes happily because his passion is praised by a friend for the first time. He reveals his grandfather made this doll, and he is in charge of sewing the clothes. Hearing this, Marin immediately stands up and strips in front of his surprised eyes. The young man is ashamed, his whole body trembling, not understanding anything. Suddenly, a beautiful girl wants to take off all her clothes, making confusing rustling sounds, and even asks him to turn around and look. Gojo is scared but gathers courage to slowly admire the student's hot body. Then Marin reveals she is cherishing a plan to sew a cute dress like in the photo. However, everything is still unfinished, and she really wants Gojo's input. He criticizes Marin's skills as terrible, not resembling the sample at all. This outfit needs a lining layer, which she didn't know. Gojo asks permission to check the stitches. Indeed, the fabric is wrinkled. Everywhere is wrong, sewn backward, not pleated, errors piling up from start to finish. The young man accidentally criticizes her without noticing Marin's face distorting, about to cry. Knowing he was rude, he kneels to apologize profusely. Marin isn't angry, but reveals the purpose of this outfit. It turns out she wants to cosplay as a character from manga or anime. Just thinking about that dream makes Marin extremely excited. In a moment of carelessness, she exposes herself right in Gojo's face, making his soul leave his body. Unfortunately, without a sewing machine, Marin often comes to the handicraft club after school. But her skills are poor, so the result isn't as expected. Since no one around is good at sewing to guide her, she grabs his hand, pleading with her eyes for him to make the cosplay outfit. Marin shares she can't do anything right, just hoping her transformation dream comes true, and she knows only Gojo can help. He thinks for a long time, moved by her admiring eyes for his sewing talent. He agrees, intending to go out to get a chair for Marin to sit on for easier measuring. Strangely, she jumps onto the cushion, posing seductively and coolly without needing a chair. Poor male lead tries to hold back while she keeps provoking him. Episode 2. Afraid he didn't hear clearly, Marin repeats the character is Shizuku Tan from the Miraculous Life in the Slippery Girls Academy. Gojo listens, sweating bullets at the girl's bold idea. Did she run out of characters to choose a debauched goddess? The male lead raises his hand, asking Marin to enlighten him on what Slippery Girls is. She slowly explains it's a famous adult game that sold super well last year. Rumor has it, it will be adapted into an anime soon. Marin rambles on about the famous game with some rather sensitive words. Gojo's face turns pale. He didn't expect such stimulating game genres to exist. He wonders if she is teasing him. Since Gojo rarely interacts with the outside world, these entertainment issues are alien to him. Marin continues introducing Shizuku-tan, whom she idolizes. The girl didn't show anything special initially, but more events showed Shizuku-tan as too attractive. Therefore, Marin idolizes her and wants to transform into the beloved character. The male lead listens with a blank face, understanding nothing of what she's saying. The only thing Gojo knows is that she really loves Shizuku-tan and wants to cosplay. He's just curious why an adult game full of sensitive issues doesn't have an age limit, and he thinks girls hate that genre. Marin seriously believes that for hobbies and passion, gender and age don't matter. That sentence momentarily makes Gojo remember his childhood friend's criticism about a boy playing with cheesy dolls. Now enlightened, Gojo is excited to start the sewing plan immediately. Both consider which stage to start first. Marin shows him a book teaching everything from choosing fabric to using a sewing machine. Gojo is interested in the detailed book that Marin still didn't know how to use. Theory is done. Now it's time to take body measurements. However, it's late, so Gojo schedules another day. Before leaving, Marin doesn't forget to thank him, smiling brightly. That night, his grandfather announces he will buy a new sewing machine for his grandson to use freely. Gojo lies in bed remembering today's events. Who would have thought two opposite people would join hands to realize a dream? He takes the chance to study the sewing book and is shocked to see many new things. The next morning, Marin unexpectedly visits, because she is too impatient to cosplay. She searched the map for the Hina doll shop's address and came straight to his house in a flash. The male lead is speechless at her casualness. She asks to enter and goes straight to Gojo's room. He is shy, speechless as Marin's rear end sways in front of him. She enjoys the doll-making tools, unaware that behind her, Gojo's heart is pounding, sweating profusely. He thinks no one has entered his room except his grandfather. Now Marin is the first exception, and looking that tasty, who can handle it? Gojo chants scriptures to calm himself down. Suddenly, Marin gets close and suggests they do it right now. The young man freezes, starting to think dirty thoughts, but Marin is referring to taking body measurements. Gojo is embarrassed, telling her to ask someone else because the guidebook mentioned underwear. The female lead calmly says it's easy. She prepared a backup plan. She slowly undresses, confidently showing off her fiery body that looks illegal. Marin wears a swimsuit, telling Gojo to measure freely without shyness. She touches him lightly, making him feel electrocuted. Oh gods, don't touch me. After a few minutes of calming down, Gojo proceeds to measure her. Marin closes her eyes to make it easier for him. Gojo gulps, limbs trembling as he approaches the beauty. He tells himself not to touch her body and finish quickly. But before finishing the first part, Marin opens her eyes, making him fall back. Holding his head, Gojo asks her to turn around to reduce panic, but looking at her rear makes him lose focus even more. Then the male lead asks if wearing a swimsuit in front of a boy isn't shameful. She thinks to transform into a debauched goddess. One must act accordingly. Gojo slaps his face to clear his head, forbidding dirty thoughts. Since she relied on him, he needs to be sincere. After calming down, Gojo ties a towel on his head to measure. A true tailor won't mind anything but the customer's measurements. When nearly done, Marin asks him to measure her feet too. Gojo agrees, intending to get a chair. Strangely, she jumps on the cushion, posing coolly. Poor guy tries to hold back while she provokes him. The young man begs, but Marin insists on measuring on the cushion. She naturally puts her leg on his thigh, creating a pose impossible to think innocently about. Gojo sweats, cheeks flushed, reluctantly finishing quickly before something rises. Marin is excited to know her exact foot size. She asks Gojo to measure her bust, unaware his face is greener than a banana leaf. He suggests she measure it herself, but Marin thinks the result won't be accurate. Seeing two melons bouncing in front, Gojo freezes, teeth and lips confused. She approaches, urging him to measure. Helpless, Gojo has to face the two melons, trembling, holding the tape measure. He calms himself that this is just work. A few seconds feel like a century. Gojo cries a river inside. The karma isn't over. She demands measuring the distance between the two nipples. The dress looks best at the top, so without accurate measurement, Marin feels uneasy. At this point, Gojo waves his hand, shaking his head. Even money couldn't make him do it. The main reason is he doesn't know where Marin's nipples are to measure. She offers to take off her top for him to see, freezing him into stone. Luckily, she was joking and measures it herself, coming up with 20 centimeters. Hearing that is enough to make the male lead's face pale with shame. The last part is measuring the inseam. Gojo thinks measuring legs, without looking at the face, will be less stressful. He admires her for not wavering, unlike him who almost had a stroke. Thinking while pulling the tape, Gojo accidentally touches a forbidden area without knowing. Marin blushes after the light touch. Thinking the room is hot, he turns on the AC, not knowing she is shy about something else. Finally, the measurement is done. Gojo asks if she has documents on the slippery girls. He wants details to study the perfect design. Marin gives him 2 manga volumes and says he can study them tomorrow, Sunday. Although Marin put on clothes, this half-closed, half-open style still makes Gojo extremely uncomfortable. That night, his grandfather buys a new machine and catches his grandson playing the slippery girls game in his room. He quickly closes the door, thinking Gojo is at puberty age, but why does he look so serious and take notes while playing that game? Episode 3. That night Gojo dreams the outfit is finished. He gives it to Marin and it fits perfectly. The girl mischievously says to transform. One must embody the character in appearance and personality. The character is famously debauched, so Marin poses seductively, inviting Gojo. Master, please admire this hot body. Just as Marin lifts her skirt to the climax, the male lead wakes up. Feeling his pants wet, he checks and realizes the dream was fake, but the wet pants are real. Gojo looks at the doll, face slightly ashamed of dirty thoughts. Arriving at school, he has a heavy heart, not knowing how to face Marin. Speak of the devil, she appears looking stunning. Friends praise Marin as a standard supermodel. Surely many guys chase her. Gojo stands in a corner thinking no one would believe this hot girl visited his house 2 days ago and stripped. He brushes the thought aside when the female lead greets him. She happily thanks him for the measurements. The cosplay dream is closer. Marin shows off her newly curled hair. The young man blushes, stuttering. Marin's friends approach to greet her, making him more shy. Seeing Gojo shy, the female lead intentionally puts her arm around him to be friendly. The light touch sends a jolt through his spine like electricity. They say goodbye. Gojo is happy Marin is friendly at school, but some gossips start whispering that Marin couldn't be interested in an ordinary guy like Gojo. These seemingly harmless words touch his self-esteem. After school, Marin initiates conversation, but Gojo avoids her, claiming to be busy. She finds it strange, tailing him everywhere but can't find him. Even at his usual spots, he's missing. Heaven doesn't disappoint. She catches him and invites him to the mall to buy materials. Eyes surround them, making Gojo panic and refuse. He runs to the station, hiding in a corner, regretting missing the shopping trip and mumbling apologies. Strangely, she is sitting right next to him. She is annoyed that he avoided her all day. Gojo admits hearing friends gossip about them dating. Afraid of misunderstanding, he avoided her. She hears this and teases. Why don't we just date for real then? Then Marin grabs his hand and rushes to the mall. There's a whole aisle for cosplay. Gojo shows her the detailed sketch of Shizuku-tan from 3 angles. The complete dress needs many accessories like bows, shoes, wig, straps, contact lenses, socks, etc. Marin is amazed at his top-notch drawing skills. To make the dress flare, they need to layer underneath. Marin agrees to all his suggestions, and they go shopping. Gojo has a keen eye for fabric. The academy is full of noble ladies, so Shizuku-tan must dress accordingly. Instead of shiny accessories, Gojo thinks they should choose thick, heavy fabric. However, this premium fabric is expensive. Gojo doesn't have enough money. The female lead pulls out a thick envelope, telling him to shop freely. Marin saved this money hoping to make her dream come true. Gojo feels less shy and accepts the money. The couple spends half the day shopping. Finished, they visit a high-end wig shop. Gojo has never seen so many accessories. Later, Marin chooses black hair for Shizuku-tan, but Gojo says purple looks more authentic. The female lead is stunned by his detailed research. They also need long hair and to go to a salon to cut it. Marin marvels that inviting him was a wise choice. Otherwise, she would have bought the wrong things. The male lead blushes. For the first time, he feels useful. The couple visits a shop selling fishnet stockings. Gojo is embarrassed. A guy shouldn't be in such a sensitive place. Marin feels it's normal, showing her thigh for him to see. Gojo hurriedly pulls the curtain to avoid gossip. Marin teases, "Consider this a reward for coming today." The young man gulps. Being teased all day might shorten his lifespan. At the end of the day, the couple fills their hungry stomachs. Marin asks how the game is. In public, Gojo speaks as if no one is there, boasting he played to the scene where the male student ejaculated everywhere during the flag ceremony. Everyone hearing it almost chokes, embarrassed for them. High schoolers these days express feelings too boldly. The male lead suggests taking the stuff home to start sewing. Marin excitedly asks where they will cosplay. Usually people go to studios or rent parks. Those with less money cosplay at home. Generally it depends on preference, but posting on social media is a must. Marin shows him photos on her profile. Famous cosplayers with sharp photos gain followers fast. Among them, Marin likes the cosplayer of this character best. On the way home, Marin shows off cosplay photos. Seeing Gojo silent, she asks. The young man shyly shares he is an only child and saw Hina dolls at his grandpa's house for the first time. Gojo was moved, glued to them, amazed such beautiful things exist. Since then, the word beautiful became reserved for Hina dolls. Basically, everyone has a passion and a different concept of beauty. For Marin, cosplay is beautiful. For Gojo, it's Hina dolls. She understands and doesn't ask further. Suddenly Marin sees a grilled rice stall, looking hungry even though they just ate noodles. Gojo tries to pay, but Marin refuses, considering it payment for him carrying bags all day. She is happy to befriend someone kind like Gojo. Rarely does anyone treat her sincerely and research the character more carefully than the owner. Without Gojo's advice, she couldn't buy satisfactory accessories. To thank him, Marin invites him to take a bite. However, he refuses. Eating like that is an indirect kiss. Strangely, Marin changes attitude, getting angry, thinking Gojo called her fat. Remembering, Marin checks the schedule and announces the cosplay event is in 2 weeks. Finished, she says goodbye and runs to catch the last train. Episode 4. Knowing the time to sew is only 2 weeks max, the male lead is worried. It takes a lot of time to sew for dolls. Sewing for real people takes much longer. Gojo worries 2 weeks won't be enough, surely disappointing Marin. The young man plans to go home and sew immediately after school. Saying is easy, but each stage takes days, not counting fixing mistakes. Just thinking about it gives him a headache and trauma. That night Gojo comes home late and forgets to call his grandfather. He boasts about shopping with a friend. His grandfather is happy, his grandson has friends and asks what they bought. Then his foot kicks the bag, revealing women's fishnet stockings. He is so startled he falls, slips a disc, and is hospitalized. Luckily the fall wasn't too heavy, but he needs medicine and rest for 2 weeks. His cousin rushes to the hospital. She suggests taking him to her house for care. Since Gojo is busy with school, no one is home to watch him. Grandpa agrees and tells Gojo to bring clothes and brushes to her house tomorrow. The next morning, the male lead tells Marin the story with a sad face. Partly worried about Grandpa, partly about the sewing. The rush time means 2 weeks won't be enough. The female lead sees him frowning and asks for contact info to help if anything happens. Gojo sadly thinks he hasn't sewn anything, so he must hurry home. Marin excitedly shows off the trimmed wig. The couple scrolls past the bulletin board, seeing midterm exams are next week. Gojo gets vertigo. Visiting Grandpa, studying, and sewing. Even with 3 heads and 6 arms, he can't handle it. Currently, Grandpa is sick, and the male lead shoulders the shop work alone. Suddenly a customer calls wanting to visit the doll workshop. They book for tomorrow, but Gojo refuses, planning to close. The customer explains a friend from France loves Hina dolls and leaves in 2 days. Gojo softens and agrees to lead the tour at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Being kind ruins his prior plans. After hanging up, the young man calculates the workload. Temporarily, tomorrow he leads the foreign guest, then continues sewing. Poor Gojo stays up all night to meet the deadline, even stabbing his hand with a needle, yet works tirelessly. The next morning after class, Gojo sits pondering the apron and headpiece plan. Marin intends to ask, but he runs out of class. That night she decides to visit, but the lights are off. Marin guesses he went to his grandpa's after the exam. She brings the food home, wondering if Gojo is okay. Actually, the young man is stuck at home, exhausted. The house is messy with dirty clothes and dishes. Recently he lacked sleep, focusing entirely on sewing. Gojo is afraid to make her sad and doesn't want to break his promise. He looks at the ink brushes, remembering the instruction to bring them to Grandpa. Since childhood, even on vacation, Grandpa brought brushes, believing 1 day without moving hands loses the skill. Meaning if you skip a day, it takes 3 days to regain the feeling. Gojo thinks he hasn't touched a brush in days due to sewing. For a passing second, Gojo wonders if he is suited to be a doll artisan. Effort doesn't ensure reward. If this continues, the dream gets further away. The male lead is sad he can't do anything right, even the promise to sew. Alone in the empty room, Gojo cries, remembering the past. As a child, he innocently asked if Grandpa got bored holding a brush every day. Grandpa laughed, saying this job is hard. It's not just about liking it. However, any job needs passion to overcome fatigue. Seeing customers' smiles fuels artisans. Helping people find happiness allows us to overcome challenges. Gojo looks at the album of smiling customers receiving products, suddenly remembering Marin, her sunny smile, thank yous and excitement for the cosplay performance. These images fuel Gojo to wake up and regain his spirit to finish the work. He wipes his face, turns on the light, and threads the needle. Even though sleepy, he tries to do it carefully, putting his heart into every stitch. The next morning, Gojo texts that the outfit is done. The female lead immediately comes to see the work she waited for. Gojo hopes finishing early lets her wear it to the event. It turns out Marin didn't know how long it takes to sew. Plus, cosplay events are organized continuously online, so she planned to calculate after he finished. Having no plan for today's show, the young man freezes, falling backward. He sewed like crazy to meet the deadline only to learn this. But finishing early is good too. Marin tears up, saying every day after school she saw him leave immediately. She thought he visited his grandpa, not knowing he suffered at home sewing for her. She feels guilty. She should have realized sooner. Seeing her cry, Gojo apologizes for not speaking up and just working. If they discussed it earlier, he wouldn't have rushed. To dispel the tension, Gojo suggests she try the outfit. If anything doesn't fit, he'll fix it. After crying a river and using a whole box of tissues, Gojo helps tie her hair. He is surprisingly skillful. The most important part is makeup with a dominant red tone highlighting the goddess image. Eyes are the window to the soul, so focus on eye color and lashes. Gojo has a set of false lashes. The female lead is surprised, thinking they belong to his girlfriend. The young man explains Hina dolls also need makeup. He shows her a recent photo. Indeed, dolls are made up with lipstick and blush like humans. Some even have colorful hair. In the artisan world, rumor has it you only need to look at the eyes to know who made it. Gojo blurts out he wants to become an excellent artisan creating many doll models. Marin doesn't laugh but encourages him. He smiles happily, unintentionally making the girl's heart flutter. They switch topics to modifying eyelids because Shizuka-tans are different from Marin's. She plays hard, willing to shave them off to paste new ones. The male lead waits outside for Marin to change. Done, she calls him in to admire the result. Gojo marvels because Marin cosplays exactly like the slippery goddess. From outfit to hair to small details like eye and lip color, Marin is thrilled to the moon. Her small dream finally came true. Episode 5. The male lead asks if the outfit is comfortable. She is very pleased. Measurements fit, though raising arms is a bit hard. Gojo thinks he forgot movement and real human feeling differ from dolls. While thinking, the girl lifts 2 grapefruits, praising the chest binding as perfect. It's comfortable and increases bust size. The dress length is perfect too. The part from the tunic to the garter belt is very cute, hugging the body. In short, 10 out of 10. No buts. Praised by a girl, Gojo smiles happily but stays humble. She excitedly asks him to take photos. Marin couldn't stop smiling, feeling not quite like Shizuku-tan yet. Plus the room background doesn't match. Marin suggests a white background and poses seductively like the goddess. However, whatever the pose, she grins happily. Because the dream came true, she can't control her excitement. The female lead promises the next one will be serious. Indeed, every photo is top-notch, looking exactly like goddess Shizuku-tan. One poses, one snaps, producing 7,749 excellent photos. She impatiently posts on social media hoping for millions of likes. Coincidentally, there's a cosplay event tomorrow. Marin wants Gojo to join. The couple didn't expect the event to be so grand, attracting millions of cosplayers. Everyone transforms into different characters. Marin is amused, thinking her outfit is equally excellent. Conversely, Gojo is pale. This is his first time at such an event with many girls. He guesses he doesn't fit in due to his ordinary style. While he's shy, she keeps praising the chest binding for highlighting the dress. The couple goes to the square to catch the breeze, guessing photographers are there. Indeed, it's airy. In the distance, a cosplayer with a sexy body poses. Marin admires and wants to ask for a photo. Suddenly, a four-eyed photographer spots Marin's outfit as the slippery girl and asks to take a photo. Her eyes shine brighter than car headlights, and she agrees immediately. Gojo waits aside. Finished, Marin invites the photographer for a selfie. Successively, many photographers impressed by the debauched goddess cosplay line up. Gojo looks around, observing everyone. Many guys cross-dress and vice versa. Wanting to cosplay beloved characters, they create freely. Doing what you like feels refreshing. Seeing Marin happy makes him happy. Most importantly, he kept his promise. However, Gojo worries that with the outfit done, his time with her might end. Marin has too many friends to have time for an eccentric like him. Hanging out after school or meeting on weekends is too far-fetched for Gojo. These past days were first-time experiences in his life. A simple happiness, but perhaps too brief? Marin, although busy taking photos, looks around for Gojo. She smiles radiantly seeing him waiting and runs to him, panting, glad he's still there. She demands to undress for a reason impossible to understand. Last night looking at photos, she found Shizuka-tan's chest is much bigger, so today Marin wore 2 bra layers to lift her chest. Now they are like 2 bombs about to explode. Gojo panics. He made it to fit her size, there's no room for 2 bras. Pour 2 grapefruits squeezed more than fruit juice. Cosplaying 80 to 90% alike is good enough. How can it be 100% perfect? Gojo blames himself for choosing lining fabric too thick, making it uncomfortable. They need a cool place to breathe. Marin sips cold water but is too weak to walk to the changing room. The male lead feels guilty. He gives her a cool towel for her forehead, neck, and underarms to cool down. The female lead is too hot and removes messy accessories, revealing 2 flushed peaches. Normal exercise doesn't make one sweat like a puddle like this. Gojo glances at her chest, thinking it's terrible. He searches online for cooling methods. Remove clothes, loosen belts, ties, or underwear. Marin asks him to unzip to strip. Gojo is terrified, telling her to go to the changing room, forgetting she is weaker than a dead fish. The male lead gathers courage to unzip a bit. Marin sighs in relief, but sweat made her underwear soaked. The young man is asked to wipe her back, blushing crimson. Wherever he wipes, she moans in pleasure, making Gojo ticklish. The hand continues wiping lower, making Marin moan continuously. Gojo, ashamed, reminds her not to make misleading sounds. Marin can't control the pleasure and lifts her skirt, showing the inside is soaked too. Having worn safety shorts, she comfortably shows off. After the wet scene, the couple prepares to go home. However, Marin wants to return to the square to meet the photographer. Because it was too hot earlier, she cut it short. Now cooled down, she wants to finish the photo set. The photographer asks Marin for one last shot in the shade. A breeze blows, lifting Marin's skirt, revealing everything. The photographer promises to delete the indelicate photos. Truly a naughty wind pleasing the viewers. At the end of the day, the couple takes the subway home, planning a nice bath. Gojo thanks her because, thanks to sewing, he had interesting experiences. Finishing, Gojo looks sad, fearing the joy will vanish. Unexpectedly, Marin suggests cosplaying a new image. She shares she likes 50 different characters. Cosplaying until the next century wouldn't finish. Gojo's face changes, secretly happy. He shouts loudly, hoping they combine well to produce more excellent outfits. First, they need a mannequin for convenient sewing. Marin agrees to buy it for him. Today was memorable, joining the lively atmosphere and doing what they love. In the future, Marin wants to join grand events and take photos with other cosplayers. The girl chatters while Gojo nods off tiredly. In a daze, he blurts out Marin is very beautiful and cute. The female lead is surprised, remembering he said, beautiful is only for special things. Those 2 words, though simple, coming from the heart, moved her. Marin turns to look at him sleeping and snoring. Will Gojo remember what he blurted out when he wakes? The next day, the couple divides the work of washing cosplay costumes. To avoid damage, follow the procedure. For example, the wig needs fabric softener in warm water, then press the wig after brushing. Rubbing damages it, so be gentle. Then change water, press, and use a towel to dry. Finally, air dry in shade. Gojo reads instructions. Marin practices. Focused on washing, the girl turns to look at him, feeling a dazzling aura. Since hearing the beautiful compliment, Marin views her friend differently. Elsewhere, Grandpa complains to the cousin about seeing his grandson buy fishnet stockings. The cousin thinks Gojo is a high schooler, so it's normal. After resting, Grandpa recovers and returns home. Away for 2 weeks, he missed his grandson. Opening the door, he sees a girl in the house. Startled, he hits his back against the door. Gojo applies a patch and explains. Grandpa realizes he thought his grandson was doing naughty things. Seeing the outfit on the wall, he praises Gojo's sewing skills. However, he feels he is still amateur. Marin observes the two chatting and realizes she accidentally likes Gojo too much. She didn't expect him to talk so much with his grandpa. Oh God, so cute, wanna pinch him. Marin is struck by love at first sight. She jumps around like a larva, making them think she's hungry. They invite Marin for dinner. The delicious dishes are cooked by Gojo alone. The female lead is surprised. Besides sewing, he is a good cook. Turns out living without parents, Gojo learned chores early. Marin shares her situation is identical. Her mom passed away, so she lived with dad. In high school, dad travels often, so she lives alone. Grandpa asks if she eats well. Truthfully, Marin buys fast food, rarely cooking. Dishes she makes are just heating ready-made food. The two are shocked. Unhealthy eating like that won't sustain health. Marin boasts she drinks milk, so she's strong as a buffalo. They suggest she come over for meals. She happily thanks them. Since it's late, the male lead walks her to the station. Marin thanks him for the meal and chat. They say goodbye. Marin looks sad. Normal conversation, but strangely nervous. She remembers Gojo telling Grandpa they didn't do anything naughty. They went through a lot but haven't progressed beyond friendship. This thought makes Marin sad. That night it rains heavily. A female student shelters under Gojo's eaves. Grandpa thinks it's his friend and invites her in. Later he goes out reminding Gojo a friend visited. The girl is wet and changing. Bring water. Gojo just got home, understanding nothing. Besides Marin, he has no friends. A thought crosses his mind. Is Grandpa tricked by a thief? Gojo opens the bathroom door, catching her. The girl is bathing, not yet dressed. Seeing her assets are a bit flat, Gojo thinks she is a child. The girl is startled, falls back, exposing everything. He remembers asking Grandpa why dolls have no hair. Actually, face painting is separate from hair attachment. Now the student is dizzy, trembling as a stranger stares at her shiny body. Gojo is pale, not expecting to see a young girl. Waiting for her to dress, they talk. She asks if Gojo is sewing outfits, making him think she's a customer. He opens the book to ask for info. She introduces herself as Inui Saijuna, a second-year high school student. He is startled. She looks small but is older than him. The male lead leads Saijuna to the showroom. She wonders why clothes and heads are separate. Depending on preference, artisans make them separately and assemble later. All done meticulously. Saijuna watches from afar, not daring to touch. After a while, she grabs Gojo's shirt, asking why look at dolls. She wants to see cosplay outfits. She shows a photo of Marin's goddess cosplay, expressing admiration. Gojo explains his specialty is doll clothes, not cosplay. Saijuna doesn't believe it. She declares since Gojo saw everything earlier, if he refuses, she will call the police. The young man is scared straight. Then he learns the shocking truth. Saijuna is the famous cosplayer Juju. Marin showed him photos guessing she was an elementary student. Turns out she's older. Days ago, Saijuna saw Marin's photo online. She secretly followed them to the event, found Gojo as the tailor, followed to the subway, and found his address. While talking, Marin visits. She is thrilled because she is a hard fan of Juju. Unexpectedly in real life, she is cute with white skin and smooth hair. She praises her, jumping on the table. Gojo reveals Saijuna came because of Marin's photo. The female lead is happy her idol noticed her. She attacks, approaching Saijuna, making her sweat. Saijuna explains she saw the photo online and is interested in the outfit Gojo made. Saijuna asks Gojo to sew the black lobelia outfit from Flower Princess Blaze. That is a famous anime character nicknamed Magical Girl, fighting to protect the world. In the movie, the magical girl fights a close sister. She manipulates psychology to shake the pure soul to drag the magical girl down. At that moment, latent power in black lobelia erupts with purple light. Saijuna initially thought Marin only cared about beautiful clothes, not the plot, but she researched well. Marin tells Gojo about the movie. Originally enemies but having feelings for each other. The plot is complex. The magical girl stands out because she smiles despite hardships. Saijuna loves the character, but costumes aren't sold widely. Helpless, she asks Gojo to sew a custom set. Saijuna sees Marin's bag full of magical girl stickers. She invites Marin to cosplay together, but she refuses. Reason: the magical girl image is small. Marin is like a supermodel, not suitable. She doesn't want to ruin the character image for personal preference. Saijuna is moved to tears. Marin is the conscientious cosplayer type Saijuna admires. After crying, Saijuna asks for Gojo's contact to exchange data. She promises only work, no romance, guessing they are a couple. Gojo is shocked, explaining he is still virgin to love. Saijuna thinks this girl is crazy. Later Marin suggests cosplaying the villain Black Lily, so they can be a pair like in the movie. Saijuna is shocked, refusing flatly to pair with this crazy pervert. Episode 7. Importantly, Saijuna usually cosplays alone. Plus this time Saijuna will rent a grand studio. Marin's eyes light up, demanding to go. She agrees to bear half the studio cost, making Saijuna waver. Expensive price, sharing saves a lot. Gojo volunteers to pay part and asks to escort, as he does Marin's makeup. Saijuna calculates the rental is 15,000 yen. Sharing saves money for costumes. Marin thought the senior refused. Unexpectedly Saijuna turns around, making an exception. Marin jumps for joy. Gojo plans to watch the anime tonight to study characters. Instead of photos, he wants to grasp the content, to choose fabric. Marin boasts having the full set. Sadly, it's 126 episodes long. That night the young man asks Grandpa for permission to focus on sewing. Grandpa agrees, looking at the doll. Gojo is sad. Weeks without painting must have degraded his skill. He avoids eye contact. Suddenly Grandpa praises his skill has upgraded. The strokes were rough but now softer. Thanks to sewing and makeup for Marin, Gojo concentrates more than practicing on dolls. Grandpa thinks if Gojo wants to make beautiful dolls, don't just stare at dolls. Expand vision to observe everything. Gojo remembers the advice. The next morning he goes to Marin's apartment. Ringing the bell many times, no answer. Suddenly Marin, disheveled, says she overslept watching movies. Her nightgown half open, 2 huge melons hitting his face, makes Gojo remember measuring her nipples. Seeing him freeze, she checks the mirror, realizing she forgot colored lenses. Actually, who cares about that? After fixing up, the female lead invites Gojo in. He'd bought pastries. Marin worries about her bare face and lack of lenses. Gojo freezes, standing still, first time at a girl's house. He is dizzy, planning to grab the discs and run. Unexpectedly, Marin invites him to stay and watch. Lighter load to carry back. Gojo agrees and is introduced to Marin's bedroom. Overwhelmed by selfies and cosplay figures. They watch the magical girl masterpiece together. Character Black Lobelia has a pitiful background, abandoned by family. Even her dream lover left. Tears of pain turn into a source of dark power. She transforms into Black Lobelia, looking cool. In the movie, she fights her sister to a draw. The couple discusses the plot. Gojo notices characters fight mostly with hands and feet, not magic. The movie climax is the main couple holding hands happily. Marin thinks she and Gojo are dating at home. Usually a third wheel intervenes. Today they have privacy. Just thinking about it feels stimulating. She glances at him. An electric current makes her tremble. Looking closely, Gojo is handsome and gentle. Marin wishes this moment lasted forever. She invites him to dinner, promising to cook. Gojo remembers the canned food and is scared, preferring to cook himself. But she insists on showing off. Marin changes into an apron. Now realizing she forgot her bra, but ignores it. She checks the fridge, imagining making love omelette rice. Thinking about it makes her blush. Marin laughs like a maniac in the kitchen. Cutting onions makes her eyes sting, but she persists. Frying rice, she praises herself. Omelette rice is easy. Result: the rice looks boring and bad. She sadly says the end was messy. If Gojo doesn't like it, don't eat. However, The young man eats deliciously. Though appearance isn't great, the sauce is good. Marin is happy. Since Gojo usually eats traditional food, omelette rice is novel. Finishing, the couple continues the movie. Gojo is so moved he cries a river. At the end of the day, Gojo sends the sketch to Saijuna. The senior is pleased with the detailed document. She offers money for materials, but Gojo suggests sending it later. Saijuna handles hair and makeup herself. He spends all night viewing Sayuna's cosplay photos, discovering some have different eye shapes. The senior reveals using face tape and demonstrates. For example, to enlarge eyes, tape above the eye or forehead and pull up. Just taping changes eye shape significantly. Tape also slims the face. Gojo learns a useful makeup tip. The senior is shocked to know Marin's outfit was his debut work. Besides sewing, other skills are amateur. No wonder Marin's photos are taken by phone. Saijuna promises to ask her sister to use a professional camera this time. All Sayuna's photos are taken by her sister, sparkling. They use editing software too. Gojo is excited to learn camera usage. Since the sister is in middle school and can't be late, Gojo offers to visit. Saijuna sets a meeting at a family restaurant. Gojo remembers at events everyone has pro cameras. Marin wants to tag along. She guesses Sayuna's sister must be petite and cute like her. Strangely, the sister is huge, completely different from Saijuna. They look like sisters from different grandfathers. The main couple is shocked. Marin examines the sisters' assets, praising them as enormous for a middle schooler. Marin boasts hers is 164 centimeters. The sister innocently replies hers is 178 centimeters. Episode 8. Shinju shows off the photos she took of her sister. Every single one looks stunning. Marin marvels at Shinju's photography skills and Sayuna's sky-high charisma. Actually, at first, Saijuna only intended to take photos for memories. But Shinju created a nickname and posted them on social media. Shinju shares that her sister didn't want to show people, while she found them cute and wanted to make them public. Unexpectedly, the photos received countless likes and follows. People even constantly commented and messaged the account, but the two sisters ignored them all. Basically, Saijuna wants to cosplay to satisfy her own passion, so she doesn't care what people think. Shinju interrupts, saying that the photo's attracting. Many followers prove Saijuna is very cute. The little sister expresses her love for her big sister. Even though Saijuna is sometimes difficult to please, after the introduction, Shinju shows off the fancy camera borrowed from her dad. This type of camera doesn't need lens changes, which is very convenient. Changing lenses gives different results even when shooting from the same angle. Especially, shooting with a camera produces high-quality, sharp images far different from phone photos. Shinju explains, for example, when shooting a background with flowers, it blurs the background and isolates the cosplayer sharply. Or blurring nearby objects creates a gentle atmosphere. Utilizing shutter speed, we can even capture falling petals, which is very interesting. The main couple expands their minds, not expecting camera photography to be so interesting. Shinj dreams of taking many more cute photos in the future. Marin wonders why Shinju doesn't try cosplay once since her figure is tall and eye-catching. Shinju quickly shakes her head and waves her hand. Her hobby is photography, not embodying characters. Marin curiously borrows the camera to try, snapping a few random shots immediately. Gojo asks for the price of the cheapest camera on the market, and drops his jaw in shock because it's too expensive. Not to mention adding a tripod and flash makes it double the price. The male lead turns pale. With a mountain of money like that, where would he get it to buy gear? He thought it was cheap since everyone at the event had one, but it's unimaginably expensive. Probably have to stick to phone photography until he saves enough money. Saijuna shares that cameras have many types and prices. Don't try to buy grand ones beyond your financial ability. Finished, the two sisters invite the couple to a joint photo shoot for fun. Of course, Marin raises her hand to agree immediately and sets a date to meet in a few days. To the next day, the group arrives at the studio, which is exactly an abandoned hospital. They are nervous, not expecting a rental service like this exists, promising many interesting things. Marin and the little sister excitedly go ahead to explore the dark atmosphere inside. Saijuna alone is a bit scared stiff, still hesitating to step into the studio. Afraid of looking lame, Saijuna pushes aside her fear and quickly follows the group deep into the abandoned hospital. Touring around, Marin finds the location not bad, but a bit dark, fearing the photos will be blurry. Shinju reassures them they have a flash and a light reflector for support, so no worries about darkness. Shinju shares that on sunny glaring days, she often shoots against the light. At that time the face gets dark, so Shinju uses a reflector to increase brightness. Besides that use, it also makes the wig shiny and the skin prettier. Marin excitedly demands to try it immediately to see if it's as effective as rumored. However, the weather today is gloomy, looking like heavy rain is coming. Saijuna hides at the end of the stairs, trembling. Afraid of the dark, plus the gloomy weather increases the spookiness. Seeing the senior's face look bad, Gojo suggests standing outside to wait, but the girl refuses. Saijuna wants to cosplay Black Lobelia. If she doesn't examine the inside carefully, how can she take beautiful photos? The male lead wants to check for her, seeing Saijuna is somewhat forcing herself. Now the senior changes the subject, asking what Gojo's dream is. He shares he wants to become a Hina doll master. As for Saijuna, she simply wants to transform into a powerful, sparkling, and cool magical girl. Since childhood, Saijuna has admired and been fascinated by the magical girl image with fluffy, cute costumes. So when she grew up, she wanted to make that dream come true. In first grade, Saijuna gradually realized that magical Canadian power only exists in movies and there are no magical girls in real life. In middle school, Saijuna saw magical costumes for sale and spent all her savings to buy and try one. Back then, lacking experience, Saijuna didn't wear makeup, and the clothes didn't fit, looking quite messy. The first cosplay failed, but Saijuna was still very happy. She told herself, even if she had to force herself, she must fulfill her dream. Gojo hears this and asks why, when there are many skilled tailors, Saijuna relied on an amateur. The senior reveals that watching Marin's cosplay photo surged a feeling of jealousy. She wanted to wear an outfit made by Gojo at all costs. True, many people have better skills, but she didn't understand why her instinct told Saijuna to choose Gojo. Maybe she fell in love at first sight with the slippery goddess outfit. Hearing these words from the bottom of her heart, Gojo suddenly remembers being taken by his grandfather to see Hina dolls as a child. The first time the boy witnessed such new things with his own eyes, he praised them as the most beautiful in the world. Grandfather laughed heartily at the naive words of his eldest grandson. He tried his best to make these dolls to make everyone stare at them. Now hearing his grandson praise them as the most beautiful, of course, he was thrilled. Gojo determined to grow up honing his skills and training to become a great master like him. Childhood memories suddenly rushed back like lightning, making the young man burst into tears. Saijuna saw the junior's dazed expression and was a bit scared, thinking Gojo was possessed. Suddenly he grabbed Sayuna's hand, thanking her profusely. Thanks to you, I understand my grandfather's joy years ago when hearing others praise his products. Saijuna was shocked. Being held by a boy for the first time, she fainted on the spot. The young man was confused, understanding nothing. No one did anything, yet she fainted up and down. The next morning after school, Marin invited her close friend to the beach to catch the breeze. The beach hasn't entered the tourist season, so it's quite empty, with fresh and airy atmosphere. Gojo thought the girl wanted to come here to take photos today because at the abandoned hospital, Marin mentioned finding a backlight location. Actually, this semester is over and it's summer, so Marin just wanted to go to the beach to relax. Wearing a uniform to the beach is a way to enjoy youth. Gojo froze for a moment, not expecting to be invited to the beach by a beautiful girl one day. Moreover, she acted spoiled, demanding Gojo feed her potatoes. Suddenly a party pooper hawk flew by and stole the piece of cake from Marin's hand. It cunningly hovered over the couple's heads, waiting for a chance to steal the rest of the food bag. Gojo suggested changing locations, but she liked eating while watching the sea. Gojo heard this and proactively threw the potato bag to the hawk, then invited Marin to go somewhere further away. Don't understand what he was thinking acting like that, then giving his portion of the cake to Marin, probably afraid the hawk would ruin the outing. So Gojo had to use a bad strat. The couple shared the remaining cake while drinking milk tea and enjoying the cool sea breeze. Marin excitedly demanded to go down to play in the water and scoop up some seaweed. She unintentionally exposed herself in front of Gojo. This must be the NTH time. The young man sitting on the shore, face blushing hot at that moment, took off his socks and rushed into the sea to play with the beauty. The feeling of waves lapping feet and sinking sand was indescribably stimulating. Gojo shared this was his first time going to the beach. The young man's life until now only knew Hina dolls. Since childhood, Gojo practiced painting faces, hoping one day to become an artisan. Being too engrossed, Gojo completely ignored things around him or going out anywhere. Recently, his grandfather reminded Gojo to look at more things. Don't just observe in photos or TV. Currently, the experience of watching the sea blending with the cool breeze makes Gojo extremely excited. Marin heard this and invited him to experience many locations often in the upcoming summer break, especially going just the two of them. The male lead agreed to the proposal immediately without hesitation. Marin was happy, face blushing, but afraid he would find out. She pretended to go ashore to drink water. Thinking about the prospect of the whole long summer vacation hanging out together makes her unbearably happy. She unconsciously raised her phone to take a picture of Gojo in the distance. The guy was fumbling somehow and accidentally fell flat on his face, soaking his clothes. Gojo screamed, his whole body swept by the sticky current. Turns out playing in the water, he accidentally stepped on slippery seaweed and fell. Finished, the couple went to buy some sewing supplies before going home. The mannequin ordered online. Will probably be delivered soon. Just entered the room, Marin lifted her skirt to show off her goods in front of Gojo. The young man screamed in panic. Not understanding what the girl intended to do, Marin boasted this was the swimsuit she just bought. Moreover, she took a picture and sent it via message to Gojo last night. Why be startled and panicked today as if seeing it for the first time? The problem is seeing a photo and seeing it live are two different categories, Grandma. Marin still enthusiastically lifted her skirt to show off the swimsuit. Poor Gojo, ashamed, turned his back and buried his face in the wall. The girl saw the guy shy and approached to tease him more. Gojo asked his friend to be less tactless and pull her skirt down to talk. The female lead is impatient to try on the cosplay outfit to see how it is. Marin intended to take off the top too, but forgot she was wearing a normal bra and couldn't show off. Later, Saijuna also arrived to try on the magical girl outfit. It's great that the measurements fit perfectly. Every movement is easy without discomfort. However, Saijuna wants the skirt hem to puff up more to be cuter. Gojo noted and promised to refine the skirt hem according to the senior's preference. As for the coat, Gojo used embossed fabric, which is quite eye-catching. But this fabric is quite thick, fearing that posing might be a bit difficult to move. Conversely, it has the advantage of enchanting and attracting viewers more than light, fluffy fabric. Marin pricked up her ears listening, seeing the senior has extensive knowledge about everything. She also wanted to imitate that charisma but overacted a bit. Next, Gojo did makeup for his friend and received enthusiastic advice from the senior. For characters with light hair color, foundation should be one tone lighter to match the hair color. Gojo boasted he just learned how to use facelift tape to help eyes look bigger. The character Marin transforms into using only false eyelashes is not enough. Need to tape eyes bigger to look better. Saijuna reminded after taping. Use hair clips to clip between the hair net and the tape to fix it. After hours of plastering on the face, a makeup part was also completed. Marin nervously looked in the mirror to see the result and was amazed, not recognizing herself. From hair color to face makeup exactly like the original. Marin was so happy and excited she punched Gojo lovingly several times. Now just waiting for the combination with the senior to produce the photo set is done. Saijuna lately has weather changing faster than an ex-lover. Morning sun, afternoon rain changing suddenly. Although the dark scene fits the concept, it affects the mood terribly. The senior praised the cosplay outfit as very impressive and suitable for Marin's figure. The female lead was visibly happy, taking the advantage to ask for a photo with Saijuna. Today the senior was surprisingly easygoing and agreed to Marin's request. While waiting for Gojo and the cameraman who hadn't arrived, these two sisters took a few selfies to post on social media. Less than 3 minutes receiving countless likes, mostly because everyone admires Saijuna. Previously, the senior didn't participate in any cosplay events, mostly just shooting alone. Later, Gojo appeared with the little sister in a completely strange interface. Back to the day the group first visited the abandoned hospital, Saijuna fainted on the spot. Shinju said she took pictures of the whole scene so her sister could go home and view them without visiting herself. Everyone thought Saijuna was afraid of the dark, so she fainted, but the truth was, she was so happy being held by a boy that she passed out. At the end of the day, everyone said goodbye, but Gojo intentionally stayed back to talk privately with Shinju. He realized during the meeting at the restaurant that the little sister really wanted to cosplay, but was shy to confess in front of her sister. Now Shinju admitted there is a favorite character she wants to try transforming into. However, she felt inferior because she wasn't cute and her body was large, fearing cosplay would be criticized as weird. The most important thing Shinju worried about was that her sister would have sad memories and hate her little sister. Gojo understood the little sister's mood and told about his first time attending a cosplay event. From there he thought the attraction of cosplay is that anyone can transform into whatever they want. Even if scared, Gojo hoped the little sister would boldly try transforming once. He promised to help Shinju and was sure there was no way the senior would abandon her sister. Shinju heard this, untied the knot in her heart, and agreed to try cosplay once. And the character she wanted to transform into also belonged to the Magical Girl movie. Gojo wondered which beautiful cute lady in the movie Shinju wanted to be. Strangely, she liked the male character named Soma, with a strong personality who often helps others. Both planned to keep this secret until the photo shoot day. However, Shinju was still a bit self-conscious about her chubby body, fearing no outfit would fit. Actually, only her 2 fruits are oversized. Her body is totally fine. Besides, the most painful problem is Shinju is just in middle school and doesn't have much pocket money. So where to get the costume cost? Gojo couldn't bear to extinguish the little sister's hope and determined to think of a way to help her fulfill her wish. First, about the costume. They would utilize Gojo's uniform because the character in the movie has similar clothes. The only thing is not knowing if Shinju fits Gojo's clothes. He went outside to wait for the little sister to comfortably try on the outfit in the room. Later Shinju called the senior in to admire, making Gojo roll his eyes. The little sister's 2 grapefruits were huge, almost ripping the buttons. She tried to hold her breath and suck in her stomach. But seconds later the row of buttons couldn't stand the grapefruits and popped off to the roof. Gojo sweated bullets sitting down to sew the shirt, thinking everything fit except the chest was tight. He agonized over how to transform into a male student with such a huge chest. Thinking for a long time, Gojo flashed on the idea of kimono sarashi fabric used to wrap the body. In other words, it will flatten Shinju's chest to look more like a boy character. Done. Gojo waited outside for the result, thinking it's wonderful that people are willing to change their bodies and faces for cosplay passion. Originating from idle love for characters in movies gave them the motivation to do everything. Minutes later, Shinju changed but felt something still off. The waist wasn't prominent. The chest too huge, moreover, shoulders needed to be broader to look like a boy. Gojo went online to find how to solve the chest, not understanding how cross-dressers at events did it. They discovered online selling a fairly cheap type of shirt that improves physique extremely effectively. Done with costumes, now to the wig. Gojo intended to measure the little sister's head to buy a suitable type, unexpectedly accidentally touching the 2 oversized lower heads. Gojo rolled his eyes, quickly apologizing profusely. The next day, the male lead bought a wig and invited the little sister over to try. Since this cosplay needed to be secret, Gojo was ready to try trimming the wig himself without taking it to a shop. Talked big, but when practicing Gojo was confused and nervous, not knowing where to start. Shinju thought since the senior was good at sewing, these issues were piece of cake. Gojo shyly said he was still amateur and groping through everything. The young man revealed he admired a classmate because she was bright and loved by many around. She dared to think, speak, and act, a type of person without many worries. After hanging out for a while, Gojo discovered that friend also had unsuccessful things and failures. Yet the other person always smiled incredibly cutely. In conclusion, we can't see people's hearts, but everyone has their own stories. Gojo's statement made the little sister contemplate. The male lead boasted he just bought a complete makeup set for less than 10,000 yen and really wanted to try it once on Shinju's face. To make eyes more masculine, need to draw eyeliner a bit long, finally wearing the wig. The product was that today, standing in front of everyone, Shinju seemed to shed her skin, turning into a real hot boy. The sister was shocked, initially unable to recognize the little sister because the transformation level was too godlike. The two older girls just continuously took turns praising Shinju endlessly. The little sister was moved to tears, turning to look at Gojo to express thanks for the senior's help. Marin was curious where Shinju's two giant super grapefruits went, only to find out they were flattened by special fabric and shoulders were padded. She excitedly wanted to ask the junior for a photo together to keep as a memory of today's memorable moment. Since the hourly studio rental was expensive, the group had to take photos immediately to avoid wasting time. Everyone smiled happily because the cosplay hobby was successfully completed. Episode 10. The senior modeled first. Then it was Marin and the little sister's turn. They planned to do a duo photo like a scene in the movie. Saijuna was afraid of the dark all this time but still tried to finish the photo set. Marin pretended to be cool taking photos with the senior, but when getting close, she failed. Basically, Saijuna looked too cute so Marin couldn't stand it and grinned widely. Previously, Saijuna hated unprofessional grinning cosplayers, but now it's the opposite. She thought seeing Marin silly like that was actually quite cute. Later, the senior met Gojo privately to send deep thanks. Thanks to Gojo's encouragement and help, the little sister confidently dared to transform into a character, even the cost money Gojo didn't accept. Saijuna wanted to pay Gojo on behalf of her sister, but he resolutely refused. The senior felt a bit guilty being a biological sister yet not knowing Shinju's cosplay hobby. However, confessing hobbies and things one wants to do to others is quite scary because it needs enough courage. Saijuna heard this and silently thanked Gojo's kindness very much. At that same time, Marin and the little sister were working upstairs. Shinju was too excited taking a beautiful photo that the chest binding cloth popped. The giant pomelos were finally released after hours of imprisonment. That night the two sisters sat reviewing the photos taken today. Very pleased even though only shot with studio light but looked beautiful. Marin's final style was probably the most character-accurate charisma. Saijuna suddenly realized she loved Gojo's outfit but had to admit the person wearing it also acted the role well. The sister praised the little sister for cosplaying so well for the first time today. Actually, Saijuna always chose characters suitable for her own physique. She didn't dare risk cosplaying other images fearing ruining the interface. Sometimes, Saijuna envied her sister. If her physique was taller, she could freely cosplay diverse characters. Hearing these honest words, Shinju suddenly remembered Gojo's saying, "We can't see people's hearts, but everyone has their own stories." The little sister promised when in high school she would work to save money to cosplay more. She wants the two sisters to combine taking many photos for memories. Characters the sister can't transform into, Shinju will do instead. Finished, they sent the image file to Marin and Gojo to watch together. The female lead gave many compliments to her friend about his increasingly improved makeup skills. Transforming female to male is truly not something everyone can do. All thanks to learning from magazines and social media. Gojo shared after hearing Shinju's story. He was very moved and determined to help the little sister fulfill her wish. They wanted to keep it secret until the last minute, so Shinju often visited Gojo's house to discuss privately. Marin watched the movie while listening to the story, her face showing a bit of jealousy. A few days later, Marin had a new cosplay idea and still asked her friend to sew the outfit. This image is completely different from previous times. Brown skin, sharp teeth, disdainful eyes, and a genius face, especially two huge tense grapefruits. The couple sat watching the movie about the character, intending to study and prepare gradually. Because the outfit has quite little fabric, Gojo was confident to finish early. However, the important brown skin point probably has to use photo editing. The male lead lay resting after nearly finishing sewing. This time was easier partly due to getting used to it, partly because the set had little fabric, not elaborate. Gojo remembered previous outfits took a lot of time and effort. He thought to himself, didn't expect the world to have so many wonderful designs. While thinking, suddenly Marin's voice called from below. She appeared with a pitch-black interface parents wouldn't recognize. Gojo was shocked. Only a few days. Not seeing, the smooth white skin turned into African skin. Marin excitedly boasted she just went sunbathing to burn her skin to look like the character Rizu, Veronica, in the movie. The male lead was speechless at the girl's playfulness. Actually, she bluffed, applying cream to the body to help change skin color only. Marin wanted to shower to wash off sweat and dust and borrow Gojo's clothes to wear temporarily. She teased the guy standing outside forbidding peeking, making Gojo freeze, not knowing what to say. He is a serious young man who would do such oh my god things. However, seeing Marin wearing his sports set with the familiar soap smell felt a bit painful. He was caught by the girl, face blushing, almost revealing all his thoughts. Marin showed off to her friend the newly bought makeup set, including white mascara and brown cream, plus chain accessories bought at the Halloween fair for super cheap to look like the character model. Looking heavy but actually light, not uncomfortable at all. Small details like jail-like wallpaper Marin also carefully bought without missing anything. Must say this trip they invested enthusiastically in background accessories quite decently. Particularly the sharp teeth part was hard to find, but Gojo had prepared a bit. Turns out he went online to learn how to make teeth from fake nails, so he imitated. Marin excitedly demanded to try wearing it immediately, not expecting the resemblance beyond imagination. Looks natural, not fake like buying teeth at the store. The last step is applying color-changing cream and changing clothes. Marin just lifted her shirt a bit when the young man turned pale with the half-closed, half-open speakers. Watching girls' chests often helps improve health, but Gojo was shocked and losing lifespan. Seeing his friend's face red, Marin worried he had heat stroke, and hurriedly went to get water, forgetting the leg chain. Result: she fell flat, head swelling a lump the size of a fist. How to wear a wig to transform into Rizu now? Cosplay plan postponed due to traumatic brain injury. Appointment next term to continue. Summer vacation is still long. A few days later, the couple invited each other out, mainly to buy clothes for Gojo. The female lead noticed her friend wore one outfit forever, so she offered to coordinate clothes today. The naive guy knew nothing about fashion, so Marin picked a flowery shirt, asking him to try. The shop staff glanced, thinking the girl was too pretty. Loving a country bumpkin boyfriend was truly a waste. Marin nervously wanted to see the result. Shocked, almost vomiting because it didn't fit Gojo at all. Changing 7,749 different styles, Marin found him handsome in all. But Gojo looked gloomy with something dissatisfied. Indeed, a teenage girl's soul in love flies weirdly different from people. Now Gojo spoke up saying these outfits were too stylish and unsuitable for him. Marin switched to normal men's t-shirts and offered to wear a style like Gojo too. Actually, she wanted both to wear couple shirts like lovers, so she bluffed liking men's t-shirts. The female lead is already pretty, so she looks good in anything. But Gojo still had a pale face, unconfident with the new interface. They bought some more accessories, then invited each other to a restaurant to eat noodles to fill empty stomachs. A whole day the couple intertwined, experiencing many interesting things. Gojo first time contacting the outside world, feeling both worried and excited. He apologized to the girl for wasting effort choosing clothes, but finally couldn't choose a satisfactory set. Marin switched the topic to her head healing and ready to cosplay character Rizu. Suddenly, the male lead withdrew, telling her to transform. Alone, Marin was shocked. Without Gojo, how could she cosplay? Marin sadly wanted to know the reason he refused to cooperate. Gojo admitted this time the outfit had too little fabric, especially the chest almost fully exposed, so he didn't dare. Look. Marin heard this and turned to punch her friend lovingly. Thought it was some heavy reason, turns out it was that. She laughed delightfully and teased Gojo as a pervert who likes looking at women's chests but pretends. Marin promised later to research characters carefully before deciding to cosplay. However, this time having taken the trouble to sew, she would still wear it at home to avoid waste. Throughout the way back the couple was silent, with everyone's face blushing with shame. Suddenly, Marin pulled the guy's hand, whispering she would send a photo after wearing it herself. Gojo got an electric shock running through his body, terrified. Teasing friends like this, the young man will surely die early. Episode 11. Walking on the street in melting heat, the couple decided to stop by a manga cafe to avoid the sun. Here there is cool air conditioning, serving food and drinks thoughtfully, reading comics freely. However, Marin sat too close to the guy. Every light touch of legs made the young man's heart tremble with shame. Every time skin touched, Gojo jumped up and down like a typical teenage boy. After eating for a while, the female lead introduced Gojo to a few healing manga books too. Read before sleep, quite pleasant. These are characters Marin loves and wishes to transform into one day. Gojo was a bit scared. Clearly the girl promised to choose suitable characters for cosplay later, but looking at this anime on the body, there was barely any fabric. Marin joked. She didn't want to cosplay because that character was too cute and didn't fit her type. The male lead heard this and thought Marin was petite and cute. Just the hairstyle was different. As long as Marin likes it, he is ready to help her cosplay. This anime image. The female lead was overjoyed and finalized transforming into the little devil succubus. Briefly speaking about the succubus, it's the type showing boys' wet dreams then sucking vitality to death. Harmful content like that, yet initially Marin boasted it was healing to read before sleep. Gojo gave up on his friend liking to cosplay. Painful characters. He opened the story to read and saw the little devil named Succubus often groping to the handsome boy's house in the middle of the night demanding to see Peter Pan. It used the seduction ultimate move, but the young man wouldn't fall asleep and even gave the little devil chocolate. It was happy enjoying and sharing with friends. Gojo read for a while, seeing the content was healing, not too naughty. However, the comic character drawn simplified made Gojo unable to visualize the little devil's outfit clearly. It was completely different from the clothes he had sewn before. Even the back was covered by hair, not knowing how it looked. Gojo pondered deeply on how to design the outfit. Sky getting dark, the couple planned to go home, but Gojo wanted to stop by the bookstore to buy more comics about the little devil kid. That night, Marin texted inviting the guy to take cosplay photos tomorrow morning. She found an outside studio with cheap price and proactively deposited to rent it. Gojo agreed immediately, but didn't expect that studio was actually a love hotel. Before he could question, Marin called the guy up to room 303 to explore. Inside there was a giant, super huge bed to bounce comfortably without worrying about collapsing. Plus, under the pillow there was a massager. Looking at it was enough to make one wet. The girl found it normal, but Gojo's face was greener than a banana leaf, jumping around in panic knowing they were in a love hotel. Marin explained last night she discovered there was a big bed here like the cosplay character, so she booked the room. Gojo reassured himself to imagine this is a studio to be less ashamed. However, life is not like a dream. Massage handles hitting his eyes, making his soul leave his body, hard to control. Peter Pan. Feeling of being in a hotel with a hot girl like Marin. How to endure. Suddenly she boasted many cosplayer groups also chose love hotels as group photo locations. Here they serve enough snacks like cakes, quite attractive. The couple planned to call reception to bring some cakes up. Now Gojo, startled, changed the subject. Although they didn't come here to do naughty things, they were still minors. If someone found out, it would be hard to explain. Marin didn't care. Went to change clothes to take photos. Renting the room without shooting would be a waste of money. Knowing the guy is still a virgin and shy, yet she teased inviting him to the shared bathtub. Gojo froze, waiting outside, sweating bullets. Dark. Mind thinking dirty thoughts, couldn't relax. He intended to turn on the TV but forgot this is a love hotel full of programs, not for kids. Suddenly Marin rushed out from the bathroom, showing off the cosplay outfit fitting perfectly. She praised the sewing talent of her friend, from buttons to the heart shape on the back neck, very cute. Must admit, Gojo used imagination to design the little devil outfit, far different from the model. He went online to learn, knowing the succubus, specializing in seducing boys, has many different types of outfits. Daringly revealing type, cute type are equally stimulating. Unfortunately, this outfit is different from the original. Gojo imagined mainly, so still wondered. Marin didn't mind because cosplay requires artistic creativity, so this outfit is considered Gojo's own special version. She looked at Gojo affectionately and expressed loving this creative cosplay set very much. Suddenly she changed the subject, saying putting 3 worms in the pocket brings luck. Finished speaking, Marin searched the room, finally found the box containing condoms. Gojo was forced to put them in his wallet for luck, although deep down he didn't like it at all. Done. Both put on makeup and attached fake accessories to resemble the succubus image. Gojo praised the other as excellently beautiful, except the wig color was a bit dull. Attaching demon wings guaranteed to look exactly like the model. Gojo delicately bought many more accessories and marked the scenes he wanted to recreate. They started working, one acting, one as cameraman. Scenes of the Succubus sleeping on the bed or eating chocolate were recreated by Marin realistically. The last scene needed was the little devil seducing the prey. However, Gojo felt something missing. Thinking for a moment, the young man boldly got on the bed, even telling Marin to climb on him. Must shoot from the prey's perspective to look like the model in the story. Marin obediently climbed onto Gojo's crotch, sitting firmly. Indeed, changing the shooting angle produced a much better picture. The couple was happy spending all day, but in return the result was not bad at all. They forgot they were still pressing on each other in a very confusing posture. Plus the room next door emitted moaning sounds, making hearts drop. Must be so because they were in a love hotel. Not hearing swinging sounds of couples would be strange. Now Gojo realized earlier, being too absorbed in shooting, he told Marin to climb on him. The young man's naughty eyes glued to that spot, causing something to rise. Without knowing, he panicked, hugging Marin's waist, telling her to get down quickly, accidentally touching a ticklish spot, making the girl scream. Ah. The phone slipped from hand, hitting the light switch, making the room pitch black. The couple, four eyes, looked at each other, whole body limp. This provocative posture made them hot all over. Suddenly, the phone rang. Reception announced rental time over, asking if they wanted to extend. Gojo clumsily refused, and Marin hurried into the bathroom to change. The girl usually teases her friend, but falling into this situation suddenly became shy. Going down the elevator, they met another adult couple. High schoolers now are really reckless, taking advantage of summer break to lead each other into hotels. Hearing those sensitive words, the couple was shy, not knowing where to hide their faces. That night, Gojo lay in bed beating himself continuously because of the incident at the Love Hotel. How to face Marin tomorrow. Episode 12. A few days later, a fireworks festival was organized, but Gojo stayed home to focus on painting Hina doll faces. Suddenly, Marin texted him for help, telling Gojo to come to her house immediately. It turned out her summer homework was too hard, so she needed assistance. Marin complained that during the festival season, her dad was away on business and had no time for his daughter. He often called, asking Marin to send photos to report whether she was hanging out or studying at home. Actually, the female lead often works part-time to earn extra income, so she is quite busy. It turns out Marin works as a photo model, though still an amateur. Her appearance frequency in magazines has been increasing lately. The editor accidentally met Marin at a hair salon, was impressed by her pretty looks, and recommended her as a model right away. Gojo marveled and praised her because Marin looked completely different in the magazine, perhaps due to the makeup artist and posing style being different from Cosplay. The female lead revealed she is working harder at modeling lately to save up for a fancy camera. After studying, the couple invited each other to watch a horror movie. Because next time Marin wants to cosplay a scary character. Gojo had never watched the horror genre before, so he was a bit worried and nervous, but Marin reassured him the content wasn't scary at all. As a result, her face turned pale green, her whole body trembling, but she pretended to be fine. The scene, full of slaughter with the killer holding a saw attacking victims, made viewers scared pee their pants. Gojo suggested rewinding to study the scene as well as the character's costume. In contrast, Marin, sitting next to him, was terrified, but still tried to act tough to avoid embarrassment. After finishing the movie, they continued studying. Then Marin realized she accidentally left her math notebook at school. Since it was on the way home, Gojo escorted her. Luckily, they found the notebook. Just having watched a horror movie, entering the empty school now felt a bit chilling down the spine. That was during the day. At night, it would surely be even more terrifying. Gojo planned to buy some ingredients to cook dinner and invited Marin to stop by his house to eat together for fun. The girl agreed immediately. It's rare to enjoy the cooking skills of her best friend. The couple passed by the pool, so Marin felt inspired to take a tour. If not a swimming club member, normally one wouldn't be allowed in this area. Since it was summer break and no one was watching, Marin planned to soak her feet a bit to see. Unfortunately, being clumsy, she fell right into the pool and disappeared without a trace. Gojo stood on the shore, panicked, calling forever but seeing no response from his friend. Helpless, he had to jump down to save her. Luckily, Marin just swallowed a bit of water and wasn't done for. Gojo wondered why he saw the girl often traveling to the beach with friends, but she didn't know how to swim. Marin shared those trips were all about eating, chatting, and taking photos, not daring to swim in the sea. She likes the feeling of sitting on the sand listening to the waves while watching the light reflect on the water. So even though she can't swim, Marin still likes going to the beach. Hearing this, Gojo smiled unconsciously because her situation was too similar to his. One person can't swim but likes the beach, while one draws clumsily but loves Hina dolls. However, Gojo reminded the girl to be careful when going into the water later to avoid drowning. She excitedly said she would search to see if there are any other festivals organized this summer. If there are, let's go together. However, before going to party, they need to finish the pile of unfinished homework. A few days later, Marin finished the pile of homework and immediately texted inviting the guy to rock the festival. Gojo asked his grandfather for permission to go out tonight and promised to return early. Grandpa was very happy because his eldest grandson has been willing to socialize and contact the outside world lately instead of hugging dolls at home. The couple met at the festival, not expecting the crowd tonight to be pouring in like ants. Gojo looked around, afraid it was too crowded to find the girl. A few minutes later, Marin appeared in a traditional outfit, completely different from her usual dynamic look. Gojo froze, his heart beating fast, captivated by Marin's cute feminine look. Needless to say, she was thrilled to see the guy shy, having knocked down his heart. All evening, she intentionally posed in front of his eyes for Gojo to admire freely. Rumor had it fireworks would start at 7 p.m., so they had plenty of time to visit the fair. Marin demanded candied apples and tons of delicious snacks. Before finishing buying at this stall, the girl rushed to another stall to reserve a spot. Gojo got dizzy. This was carrying stuff for her rather than looking like going to a festival. Marin's purpose was to buy lots of food, so she wouldn't be hungry while watching fireworks later. It was almost time. The stream of people poured to the fireworks gathering point. This was the first time Gojo went to watch live. Although his house is near, he had never experienced it once. Just like that, each brilliant, colorful fireworks display shone sparklingly in the high sky. Everyone looked forward to enjoying the top-notch fireworks display with loved ones. The smell of gunpowder blended with smoke and people's cheering combined with sound created an indescribable, uplifting feeling. Gojo's eyes stopped watching fireworks and turned to look at Marin unblinkingly. He wished the happiness tonight would last forever. The romance turned awkward when Marin stuck out her green tongue from eating candy earlier, making the young man startled and losing the mood. Due to walking in flip-flops all evening, Marin's feet were swollen and painful. Gojo intended to go to a convenience store to buy bandages, but the girl refused because the road was far. Instead, Gojo should piggyback her along to save the effort. Gojo is 1.8 meters tall, so the feeling of looking from above is much better. She kept squirming, pressing 2 grapefruits into Gojo's back, making the young man extremely suffocated. Throughout the journey, the couple discussed today's festival trip. Enjoying many delicious dishes and watching live fireworks was very fun, except for the lame leg. At the last minute, Marin whispered an apology to her friend and promised to be careful to wear different sandals at next year's festival. Gojo smiled slightly, saying that meant in the following years she still wanted to accompany him to hang out. The couple whispered, promising to experience many more festivals during the summer vacation. Carrying the beauty all evening almost broke Gojo's back. Just planning to sleep, Marin called because she wanted to hear the guy's voice. Actually, she accidentally watched a horror movie at home and was so scared she hid under the blanket trembling. Last time watching with 2 people she could still hold on, but now watching alone she had to change pants several times and was still scared. To the point when taking a shower, Marin imagined a shadow behind her back. Just a drop of falling water was enough to make her hair stand on end. Gojo heard this and encouraged his friend to stop being delusional. Ghosts only exist in movies. Don't scare yourself. However, Marin still screamed, afraid of what to do if a perverted psychopathic killer broke into the house. Now the only way was for Gojo to put it on speaker and not hang up so Marin could feel safe until finishing the movie. Gojo indulged the girl's wish and chatted all night long. Tomorrow morning they have to return to school to start a new semester while Marin still has many cosplay plans she wants to do. On the other end of the line, Gojo's eyes were closing from sleepiness, but he didn't dare hang up. The female lead was very happy because this whole summer she could be with her friend experiencing many interesting things. From those fleeting feelings, Marin blurted out that she likes Gojo. Thinking the guy had fallen asleep and didn't hear anything, Marin wasn't worried and spoke out her hidden true feelings. She wished Gojo good night and to meet again at school tomorrow. The budding love story between the super chubby doll and the lucky Tailor ends here. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. See you soon in part 2.